Hey, today we're going to be talking about applications of percents. We've actually already talked about a few of these. We've talked about discount, which is the money that you're saving. And we've talked about sales price. In order to find the sales price, you need to know the original, and then you subtract your discount. We've talked about tips in restaurants. We usually leave about 15% of your total bill. Some people will leave 10%, some people will even leave 20% based on the quality of their service. Today we're really going to focus on sales tax and commission. Sales tax is 7% in New Jersey. So sales tax is something that gets added on to your purchase. So let's look at the first example. The price of a bike is $160. The sales tax is 7%. How much will you pay for the bike? So the sales tax is 7% on the $160. So we say 7% of the $160. Some people could choose to do this mentally and find 1% of $160 and then multiply by 7. Or if you have a calculator, you can do 160 times 0.07. So the sales tax is $11.20, which represents your sales tax. But that's not the price that you're paying. That is simply the price, that's the sales tax that you need to add on to the price of the bike. So your final price is going to be the $160 plus your sales tax. So the total that you're wind up paying for the bike is $171.20. Another way you can look at this, if you simply want to know how much you're paying for the bike, and you don't really care about how much sales tax you're paying, what you want to figure out is first, what is the percent of the bike that you're actually paying? So let's think about this. You're paying, you know you're paying $160 no matter what, because you have to pay for the bike. That represents 100%. But you also have to pay 7% sales tax, which is extra. So that tells us that we're actually paying 107% of the $160 bike. So you can find out the total price by using 107%. So we'd say 1.07, which is 107%, times 160, which would tell us our total price is $171.20. So two different ways we can do it. We can go right to the final price, or we can find the sales tax and then add that onto the total price of the bike. Let's look at our next example. Find the total cost for a $190 purchase if sales tax is 5.5%. So you'd move your decimal twice. 0.055 times 190 is only going to tell you your sales price. So that would represent that you're paying $10.45 in sales tax. To find your total price, add that on to $190. So your total price for your purchase would be $200.45. Or you could say, hold on. Or you could say, what percent am I actually paying of the $190? So you know you're paying $190, so you're definitely paying 100%, but you're also paying that extra 5.5%. So you're actually paying 105.5% of the $190. So you can move the decimal twice. 1.055 times 190 would get you to your final price of $200.45. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit quickly about tips. Your total bill is $21.42. Estimate a 20% tip. So I want you to estimate here. The reason why I want us to estimate is because when we leave tips, we never, usually, most people don't leave change. They don't leave $2.10. They usually leave $2 or $4 or $10. Okay? So if you want to do this mentally, you want to find out what 10% is. So if you left it as $21.42, 10% when you move the decimal over twice, or once, excuse me, would be about $2.14. Too hard to work with in your head. And again, you're not going to leave change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this bill is about $20. So if it's about $20, that means 10% of it is $2, which means 20% is double that. So that means 20% is $4. So you would leave a $4 tip. Now some people might change this $21.42 and say that this bill is about $30. So if it's about $30, 10% would be $3 when you move the decimal once. 20% when you double it is about $6. And I'm going to say about here instead of equals since we estimated that. Now why would somebody leave say that their bill was $30 when it was $21.42? Maybe they enjoyed the service and they want to leave a bigger tip. So that's a personal preference on what you want to estimate to. If you want to leave more money, you would round that all the way up. Or if you want to leave less money, you would round it down. Now, you want to round it where it ends in a 0. The reason why you want to do that is so you don't have any change. For example, if we said $21.42, if we said that's about $21, let's say. Well, 10% of $21 is $2.10. And again, you're not going to leave change. So that's why you want to estimate to where there's a 0 at the end. Makes life so much easier. Okay? So now we're going to move on to commission. Commission is a percentage of your sales. That's what commission is. A percent of your sales. Some jobs earn commission. Some jobs are simply based off of commission, where you have some jobs that earn a salary and then they earn commission. But then you also have jobs that don't earn a salary, they only earn their income by commission. So right now in this economy, it's not the best type of job you want because the economy is not doing so well. So a lot of people aren't buying things. So if you're earning money based off of commission, it might not be the best choice right now. So let's look at some examples. Find the commission on a $500 sale with a rate of 12.5%. So let's just say you make a sale of $500. Well, you're going to earn a percentage of that because you sold so much money. So you're earning 0.125, which represents 12.5% of the $500. So how much are you actually making? So on your calculator, you're making $62.50 in commission. So that's how you would find commission, to find the percentage of your sales. So some jobs that earn commission are like people that sell insurance. The more insurance policies they sell, the more commission they make. So if we look at our next example, a sales agent earns a weekly salary of $650 plus a commission of 4% on all sales. His sales this week are $1,250. How much does he earn? Okay. Well, this sales agent earns a weekly salary no matter what. So automatically, he's getting $650 right off the bat. So even if he doesn't sell anything, he's definitely going to earn $650, which is the type of job that would be great where you're earning a salary and then you're getting kind of like bonused on things that you do extra. So this sales agent earns $650 plus 4% on his sales. Well, 4% of his sales this week are $1,250. So 4%, 0.04 of his sales. Notice I put it in parentheses. The reason I put it in parentheses is because this is what I have to do first. I have to figure out how much money did he actually make if he made 4% on his sales. So since he sold $1,250 in sales, he made an extra $50 just by selling whatever he was selling, plus $650, which is his weekly salary. So for the week, he earned $700. So he automatically gets the $650, and then he earned an extra $50 in commission. Okay, so that's a little bit about commission, tips, sales, tax, discount, and sales price. So make sure you took notes on all of this, write your summary, and have at least one question that you want answered in class. And we'll continue discussing this in class a little bit further.